Newliners, welcome back to the Newline Interactive YouTube channel. Today we are going to be looking at our brand new AI remote control with Newline Voice Assistant, which puts powerful natural language control right in your hand or in your voice. From anywhere in your room, you can instantly access Newline features that you know and love without having to interrupt the flow of your teaching or collaboration. The Newline AI Remote Control is fully integrated with the Q Pro Elite series with support for the Q Pro series coming soon. Now, when you unbox your Newline AI Remote Control, it's going to come with a couple of different pieces. You should expect to see at least 3 different things in addition to a couple of batteries. One of those things is going to be your remote. Go ahead and put the batteries in that remote, and you can go ahead and put it off to the side for a second. The other 2 things that are going to come in that package are going to be your dongle and your antenna. The key step when you are installing this in your Newline products is to make sure that you connect the dongle and the antenna together before you plug them in. If you don't connect that antenna to that dongle, it's going to limit the functionality of this device. So make sure you go ahead and screw those together. And once they are connected, you are actually going to plug it in underneath your Newline display. So down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to be able to see that little antenna sticking out of the bottom there. You want to make sure that you are connecting that USB dongle with the antenna attached into the Android USB-A port. So that's going to be, again, in the bottom left-hand corner, but underneath your display. If you do not utilize the Android port, again, that can limit the functionality. So please make sure that that is the port that you are connecting the dongle and antenna into. The remote should pair automatically after you have connected it to your display. If you have any issues at all with getting it paired, please check out the quick start guide linked below for the full directions for how to get that remote paired with your Newline panel. Now, let's talk about how this is going to impact your classroom or your collaborative space. Once your remote is connected, you can use it to control several features that are, of course, included in your Newline panel. So to help us out here and make it a little bit easier to see, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my whiteboard just so I can show you a picture of what is on the remote, so it's a little bit easier for us to figure out. When you are looking at your remote, there's going to be a bunch of different icons. If you look here at the bottom, it's going to have a lot of buttons that are very familiar to you. Things like your home button, your settings button, your sources button, your task switcher, all things that are frequent flyers on your Newline side toolbar. So again, you don't have to use any voice control for that at all. Those are just buttons that I can now press right from my hand, meaning I no longer have to physically walk up to my display to be able to navigate around. So giving you a little bit more flexibility in that space. It's also going to give you brightness control options. So if you wanted to adjust that brightness up or down, as well as your volume here on the left. So don't have to walk over to adjust the volume if you're playing a video. Those are now going to be right in the palm of your hand with your Newline AI remote control. It does also have a mute button here in the center as well. So if you did want to put your panel on mute just to ensure no videos or anything like that start playing before you're ready, you kind of have all of that functionality there in the center of your remote. Up at the top is where you're going to find that voice control functionality. So if you are looking here at the top of your remote, there is going to be a microphone button. Once we get into using those voice commands here in a second, I'll show you exactly how that works, but that microphone is how you can go ahead and start a voice command. You will also notice here on the other side, there is a mouse pointer. One of the most frequently requested items that we have gotten is to have an air mouse accessible to our teachers and our users so that you can access content without having to walk up to your display. Now that air mouse is going to be built right into your AI remote control. So if I press that mouse pointer, now I can use it anywhere to navigate. When I am using that air mouse, I'm also going to use it in conjunction with my directional pad. So when I am wanting to left click on something, that is where my OK button is going to come into play. And just like that air mouse, you are also going to have that directional pad there at the top for just some easier navigation options when it comes to utilizing this in your space. The moment we have all been waiting for, which is how can I use my voice to control my Newline panel using my AI remote control? Very, very simple. We're going to start by pressing that microphone button. And as I press that button, there's going to be an LED indicator here at the top. If it turns green, it is going to be ready to hear my command. So I'm going to press my microphone, go home, and when I release, it's going to execute the command for me. So as I am speaking, you're going to notice it'll show my command here, and then it will also repeat that command to me to make sure that's what I was asking it to do. Remember, when you release the microphone button, that is when it's going to go ahead and execute the command for you on the screen. There are tons of different things that you can control just with your voice. We're not going to go through all of them in this video, but I am also going to attach our complete list of voice commands below, so feel free to check that out. But you can use this to open applications, you can enable and disable features, and you can also ask your Newline panel a couple of different questions. So for example, if I wanted to set a timer for 5 minutes, that timer is going to start automatically. I did not have to press any buttons for that to work. I can now start that timer from anywhere in the room. If I'm done with it, maybe the timer has gone off or I've decided I don't need it a little bit early, stop timer. Not only is it going to stop the timer from running, it's going to go ahead and close it out on my screen so I can move on to whatever I need to accomplish next. I can also open specific applications. For example, open Google Drive. Now I have access to my Google Drive, and I could then pair this with my Air Mouse to select my content from anywhere in the room. Close Google Drive. Without having to touch anything on my screen, I am now back at my home screen. So you'll notice earlier I used the command go home. Now I used the command close Google Drive. We have designed this with natural conversational prompts, so you don't have to remember a specific script or specific phrases. You're going to use the phrases that are comfortable and easy for you, which is super handy, so you don't have to put one more thing on your plate to learn. I can also do things like disable touch. If you look at my screen now, you'll notice my touch is disabled here in the top right-hand corner. And as I try to tap on my screen, it's going to give me the message that touch is disabled. As soon as I'm ready for it to come back, enable touch. Now my touch functionality has returned without me ever having to touch my display. So if you are in a classroom setting or maybe even a meeting space where you don't want somebody to accidentally change your page, you do not have to walk all the way up to the display and physically enable that feature using your control buttons in the front. Now you'll be able to do that right from the palm of your hand. And the last thing we talked about is being able to ask it a couple of different questions, such as, what time is it in Dallas, Texas? That will launch my browser and pull up the time in whatever location I have requested. The other question I can ask and receive an answer to is, what is the weather? So for example, what is the weather in Paris, France? And in a new tab, just like with my time, it will access the weather in whatever location I have requested. So obviously there's a lot of functionality available in this little tiny device. But the really cool thing about it is a one-time cost. There is no licensing fee to continue to use this with your Newline panel. All you have to do is purchase the remote and you'll be able to access these voice control features right through your Newline panel. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your Newline team, and we look forward to talking to you soon.